Pencil and paper out? All right, so let's talk about the next 64 days. Write down 64 days. We have 64 work days between now and the end of the year. No more, no less. Ladies and gentlemen, 2011 is coming to an end. This is going to be, in a few days, it will be the last quarter of the year. For all the good and all the bad, whatever it is, this is where it's at for you. Now, the opportunity is that what you do today can affect how strong you're going to end 2011. Because you can still do deals between now and the end of the year. You still can open and close transactions between now and the end of the year. Make sure you remember that when you're out prospecting. Point A. Point B is the activities that you generate today, the listings that you will take, the leads that you will generate, that you will follow up on and turn into appointments, will become your listings and sales in the first quarter of 2012. 2012. Time does fly, doesn't it? So, who was in the real estate business in the year 2000? So, 8, 10, 12 of you. Interesting. About 12 people. So, those of you, did 2000 seem far long ago, or was it feels fairly recent? Fairly recent, right? Fairly recent. Yet, that's 11 years almost gone. Actually, I guess 12, the way they count that. It's 12 years. 12 years gone. Like in a flash. Time flies. You have to take action to accommodate yourself. Great things have happened. Some good, some not good. So, I wrote this down here. We talked about goals this morning. When you set a goal and you don't achieve it, how do you feel about yourself? Good or bad? Bad. You don't feel good about yourself, right? Say yes. Yes. Absolutely. You start to doubt yourself. You start to beat yourself up. You start to question what's going on. So how does it feel when you start beating yourself up and you start doubting yourself? Feels good or bad? Bad, right? Okay. So when you see someone that has achieved more than you, let's say over the last 8 or 10 years, how do you feel about yourself then? Good or bad? Bad. You don't feel good about yourself, right? I mean, that's what's happening here. All right. So you feel small, you feel lousy, you don't feel good about yourself. You doubt yourself, and you're doubting everything you do and doubting everything you're suggested to do when you're not hitting your goals. Statistically, goals are only met by 3% of the population. You can write that down. Goals are only met by 3% of the population. So in that case, most people go around feeling pretty bad about themselves most of the time, right? Say yes. So what do? We set higher goals. That's what we're going to do. Okay, I didn't get my 8 listings this month. All right, that's it. I'm going to set and get 10 this month. I'm going for it. This is going to be the time that I'm going to do it. All right? So we get on this spiral and we start not feeling good about ourselves. And then what happens? We fall short of achieving that goal, and we start all over with the process of making ourselves feel bad. So how can you fix this? Because this is what happens to us. So write this down. Make tiny refinements daily. Write down, make tiny refinements daily. Tiny changes daily. What I'm talking about is that every single day in activities that we work on, we've got to set up winning scenarios for ourselves. I wrote down, if you want to distance yourself from the masses, if you want to distance yourself from the masses and enjoy a great business life, you must understand this thought. Habits will determine your future. Habits, your habits, will determine your future. Negative habits breed negative consequences, and successful habits, successful consequences. So here was a thought. What if you have some habits that you want to change? Getting up late, not returning phone calls on time, exercising on a regular basis, eating a few less calories on a daily basis. What if you chose 2 or 3 of those habits and you worked on changing those habits this year? What if you only changed 4 habits an entire year? I'm not even talking about the next quarter. How about you work on these 4 habits, small incremental changes every single day? How about getting up on time? How about getting to the office on time? How about when you say you're going to call somebody back, actually call them back? And even better yet, call them back a little before you said you were going to call them back, not after, and not apologizing. Oh, I was so busy. I told you I'd call you back at 2 o'clock, and I know it's 3 o'clock the next day. I get it. But here I am. Well, here's a question. How many good leads do you generate? Just thought of this. How many good leads do you generate in a day, a week, a month, that because you said you were going to follow up on them, and you were going to get them some information, a list price, a piece of property, a zoning information, whatever it was you said you were going to do for them, and you were going to do it by 3 o'clock this afternoon or 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, whatever you told them. And let's say you didn't do it. Something got in the way, you forgot, you wrote it on a piece of paper, you put it in your shirt, your dog ate it, whatever, okay? You just didn't return the phone call. How many times do you then feel bad enough not to return the phone call ever? Ever. And that lead gets away from you because you're embarrassed. What if you could just change that habit this year, over the next 12 months? Change 4 habits a year for 5 years, and in 5 years, you'll have 20 new habits. You'll preview property on a regular basis. You'll prospect on a regular basis. You'll make sure that you pre-qualify on a regular basis. You'll make sure that you return your phone calls on a regular basis. Think about all the little things, and all that I just mentioned, do they cost money or not? There's no cost to that. Everything I said just now, there's no cost, and you could do those and set yourself apart from all the other average agents, just those items. Those habits, those bad habits that we have. We could change those, and we could change them now. I asked a question, do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to grow and achieve your goals for you and your family? Do you want to stay where you are? If so, continue with the habits that you have. If not, make changes. Make them now. Make them today. You've heard this before. If you keep on doing what you've always done, you'll keep on getting what you've always got. We kid about that. We laugh about it. Yeah. We all have heard it. We know that. It's true. It's true. If you keep doing what you're doing, nothing's going to change. It's only going to get worse. If you overspend and you don't put money away for the future, you're going to have a problem. You're going to pay the piper. It will happen. And it's unfortunate. It's kind of what our government's been doing. They've been kicking the can so far down the road that the world's got some very serious cash flow problems right now. Why? Because we have obligations that we weren't willing to tackle in years past. And now they're coming back to roost. They're coming back to haunt us. We're not getting younger. We're getting older. What are you going to do about saving money? What are you going to do about taking care of Christmas for your family? What are you going to do about eating right so you can be healthy to live a great life? We're living longer. So you want to live poorer longer? Are you guys nuts? The average person is living into their 80s and 90s and 100s today. I can't tell you how many people I know in their 80s and 90s that are in horrible cash positions right now because they didn't think they were going to live this long. Horrible. Can you imagine going into your 80s and 90s and not having your house paid off? Can you imagine that? Think about that. Or not having a house paying rent. What happens to rent generally? Does it go up or go down? It goes up. You know, for all the weird stuff that goes on in California and all the different things, if you own a house in California and you pay it off, whatever your taxes are when you bought that house, you know, with a few exceptions along the way, your taxes are going to be pretty much the same 35, 40 years from now. Do you understand that? When your house pays off, that's going to be your only expense. In other states, their taxes continually are going up, where some people, that's where this law came from, where the Howard Jarvis law came from, is people, older people, were losing their houses because they were paying their house off over 30 years. They were doing their job, but the state was changing the taxes, or the municipalities were changing the taxes, and therefore they were taxing these people out of their houses. They couldn't afford it. In the state of California, when you buy a house today and you pay it off, whatever your taxes are pretty much what your taxes are going to be, with some slight changes over the next few years. That's pretty terrific when you think about it. Yet we know people that don't have the money, and their rent keeps going up because they didn't buy houses, or they use their house as a slot machine. An ATM. Slot machine, ATM, same thing. Right? What are you doing to yourself? These are your habits. Saving money is a habit. Spending money is a habit. Prospecting on a regular basis over time is a habit. Creating leads and following up on them is a habit. Learning your scripts and dialogues is a habit. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Do you guys get this? Say yes. Yes. Good. I don't work so hard and you not get it. So here's some habits that could be holding you back. Not returning phone calls on time or in a timely manner. Being late for meetings and appointments. No, real estate agents are notorious for being 15 to 20 minutes late and begging for forgiveness. And you say, well, gee, there was traffic. In Los Angeles County and San Bernardino County, generally speaking, is there traffic every day or not? Leave earlier! It's okay. Yes, we're all going to have traffic, by the way. Stay away from Sunset this afternoon around 4 o'clock. The president's coming back into town. And just as an FYI, I've been in the neighborhood before when the president drove by. They stop. I don't mean partially. They stop the traffic for a couple of hours before. It's a ghost town. You can walk down Sunset Boulevard, no traffic. You can just walk, going down the street. Okay? That's what happens when the president shows up. So, not allowing enough time between appointments. Socializing too much on the telephone. Socializing too much with Facebook. LinkedIn. I wrote down here, bad habit of not role-playing daily. Not prospecting enough. How about allowing interruptions during prospecting? Allowing interruptions during prospecting. I wrote down here, winging it instead of having a well-planned, rehearsed presentation, like we learned from Matt at Productivity School. Practice, drill, and rehearse. I wrote down here, here's a habit that can get very dangerous. Procrastinating on everything from filing your taxes to taking out the garbage. Too many people don't pay their taxes on time. They didn't put enough money away on a regular basis. Some real estate agents think when they get a $10,000 check that full $10,000 is yours. It's not. Half belongs to the government. Give it to them. Okay? If you don't want to give the government half, change the people that are in power. But right now, write a check for 50%. Because between state and federal taxes, that's what it costs you. You make 10 grand, send 5 to the government. That's the deal. But you think you're not going to have to pay it. So then what happens is you end up getting behind the 8 ball, not paying the taxes this year, not paying the taxes next year. You know what Earl told us the last time we met with him is that they hired about 15 or 20,000 more auditors for the IRS. That's a growth job. Government's growth. Ladies and gentlemen, get into the habit of paying your taxes quarterly. Then, at the end of the year, when you have to figure out what's going on, you will then have your taxes mostly paid. And you won't have those sleepless nights where you wake up with a jolt at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's happened to me before in years past. I didn't pay the taxes on time. I didn't do the things I was supposed to do. And when I started changing those habits, that's when things started to change for the better. I wrote down here, take some time today and write down some of your bad habits. Choose 1 or 2 to start changing today. Today. I wrote down here, small steps daily, not giant steps occasionally, will get you to your goals. I wrote down here, we all get discouraged. We all get discouraged. I stand up here every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, rah, 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 sis, boom, ba, go, 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 all that kind of stuff. Well, let me tell you something. An hour ago, I was kind of discouraged in the car driving in here. Stock market's this, bonds are that, interest rates are this, cash flow is that, kids are doing this, mostly kids aren't doing that. It's just stuff. We all have it. You're going to be discouraged on any given day or time. You're going to have a listing that didn't sell. You're going to have a buyer that didn't buy from you. You're going to have a prospecting period of time where you didn't get any leads. It's going to happen. We all get discouraged. I wrote this down. It will happen. Write that down. You will get discouraged. You will. So what? So what? You're going to get discouraged. So what? You've got to come back to that. I will get discouraged. So what? You're going to let your discouragement stop you from your plans, your goals, your dreams, the things that you need and want for you and your family? You're going to allow some little discouragement in the way? Paul Meyer wrote, 90% of those who fail are not actually defeated. You can write this down because I think you should post this in front of you. It's the first thing you should look at in the morning when you get up. Just put it on a postcard or a little post-it note right next to your bed. 90% of those who fail are not actually defeated. He said they simply quit. They're not defeated. They quit. How well you follow through on your plan determines your success. How well you follow through. We talked about the word action. When you take the word action, A-C-T-I-O-N, you take out the I, you put it in the front, then you go, I act on. You need to take action. I act on. And then, quote the Nike commercial, do it now. Do it now. Do it right now. I wrote down here, today matters. Your success starts with what you will do today. More importantly, your success starts with what you will do the moment this meeting is over. What action will you take? What will it be? What changes are you going to make now, today? I want you to focus on running through the finish line. The finish line is coming. It's December 31st. I want you to focus on running through it. Don't stop. Don't stop prospecting. Don't stop practice, drill, and rehearse. Don't stop follow-up. Focus on that. The work you put in now, the work you put in this month, over the next quarter, will determine how 2011 will end. There's still time to make money. You still can get paid this year. It still can happen for you in 2011. And the activities that you put in now, starting today, will ensure a great first quarter of 2012. It's your choice. It's in your hands. Now let's go out and have a killer week. Thank you.